What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bring your latest in your end of the year Brooklyn Nets news. There you have it. Nets, in a very disappointing way, lose to the Heat in 5 games. And Game 5 just basically summed up the series for the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets played fantastic for 44 minutes of the game. They were up by 8 going in the last 4 minutes, and then they just couldn't score. Just like what happened in Game 4 happened in Game 5. Joe Johnson was fantastic. You can't expect him to do everything. You can't, offensively. And eventually, he's going to get stopped. LeBron James was 2 for 7 guarding Joe Johnson. It's just the 2 times happened to be the last 2 times, and it was the biggest one when he blocked Joe Johnson the first time down the stretch, and then he kind of stripped the ball. That was kind of Ray Allen who stripped the ball first, and then LeBron had the big strip. Johnson needed help. Where was Paul Pierce? Busy talking up about how great he is and all that stuff. Where was Darren Williams? Nowhere. Joe Johnson did everything he possibly can, and I can't have any anger towards Joe Johnson throughout the whole season. Yes, Joe Johnson was inconsistent at times, but he is still one of the clutchest players, one of the best scorers around, and he's a key piece to the Nets. But game 5 was just, I had a feeling in my gut that somehow they were going to screw it up. I just watched in the game. I said they're up by 8. I said, because if they win Game 5 and you go back to Brooklyn in Game 6, anything can happen when you get to the Game 7. So it was almost dawning on me that the Nets could pull a miraculous comeback, but Ray Allen hit the big 3. I mean, it's just something that just always just screws everything up for the Nets. I can't really blame anybody on the Nets for the Game 5 loss. There wasn't really any one player's fault. It just no one could make a play down the stretch, and that's what happens. It's what happened in Game 5, the lockdown defense by Miami, and the Nets. I wish they could have gotten a shot off at the end of the game, but they couldn't. I could complain about ref calls, and I could do everything. That gets you nowhere. When sports fans, you can complain about refs and things like that. It's a cop-out. Do the refs make a lot of bad calls? Yes. Does Dwayne Wade and LeBron James get a lot more superstar treatment than Joe Johnson or Darren Williams? Absolutely. You just watch the games. But that's part of the league. That's part of the NBA. Those guys get the calls because they've kind of earned them. Now, Dwayne Wade, I can go off about. I actually did a report back in high school for a sports literature report that I took sports literature in high school, and in it we did a report. I had to write a report about sports, and I did one about superstar treatment in the NBA. And what I did is I had a bunch of clips, and I showed highlights of all the calls that were just legitimately clearly bad calls made by refs for superstars. And of my top 10, 6 of them were either LeBron James or Dwayne Wade who got the calls. And this was in high school. This was when LeBron was on the Cavs. But 6 of my top 10 was LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. I mean, they get tons of calls. They really do. And you know what? It's because the way they play, being slashers, a lot of times they do get fouled, and I think the refs just kind of anticipate it at times. But like I said, you can't complain too much about it. It's just the way the NBA is. It's really interesting the way Joe Johnson does not get many calls at all when he goes to the basket. And it has to do with tendency. Joe Johnson is going to be a jump shooter before he drives to the basket. But when he does drive to the basket, he's getting fouled a lot. But it's okay. They didn't execute down the stretch. They choked massively, and they lost, and the season is over. So, it's over. It's just done. The Nets lost. I'm not shocked. I'm disappointed because they were up by 8, but not shocked. The story of the series, once again, other than Game 1, Game 2 through 5 were all really competitive. Game 1 was a joke. Game 3, when the Nets pulled off, wasn't that competitive. So except for those 2 games, but Game 2, 4, and 5 were all really competitive. Could have gone either way if they just executed down the stretch. The exact opposite of what happened in the regular season happened in the postseason. In the regular season, games were all really close, could have gone either way. The Nets just made more plays than the Heat. In the playoffs, it's the exact opposite. And you know what? That's what happens. LeBron James was great. Dwayne Wade was fantastic in game 5, and Ray Allen hit big threes, and Chris Bosh is always a silent pain in the ass. Like, he just makes shots every once in a while. You're like, I forgot he's on the team. But that's it. So, Nets lose, Heat advance. That's okay, But now comes the big questions. What did the Nets do? I'm really shocked by almost the idea that fans have. I've been reading a lot of comments, reading a lot of things about the Nets have to blow up the team now that they lost. I don't understand why you would even attempt that. This is a team that had the second best record, or second or third best record in the NBA from January 1st on, when everything clicked. Yes, they lost in the second round of the playoffs. But you need to look at this in a more realistic manner here. This team, to me, has all the potential. Yes, Garnett is old. Yes, Paul Pierce is inconsistent. But this is not about those 2 guys anymore. It's about the Nets getting healthy. And when I say healthy, I'm talking about one player. Brook Lopez. It all falls on Brook Lopez next season. The last thing the Nets should do is blow up the team. Because this was not the team the Nets expected to have. We know that. I actually was getting in an argument with somebody who commented on an article, and they said, the Nets with their $200 million payroll, and they can't even get past their second round. They're such a joke of a team that should blow it up. And I said to the guy, as it's true, they lost to the Heat, or they're not going to lose to the Heat, they're not playing well. But this is not the team that Billy King envisioned. This is not the team that Prokhorov envisioned. Lopez had never played. Lopez was never on the team when the team gelled. Maybe was that the reason? Perhaps. I don't think so. I would hope not, because he's such a great player. But we all know the key to beat Miami is to beat them inside. And who is the best post-inside presence in the game, arguably? Brook Lopez. Now, I'm not saying the Nets would have won this series if he played, but you damn well know it would have been interesting. So why are we blowing up this team when it's almost going to be like next season them acquiring an all-star player to their roster? Think about it. Brook Lopez played in only 17 games before he broke his foot. If next season he stays relatively healthy and plays, 75 of the 82 games, it's like getting an all-star player and signing him in free agency with this team. That's what it's like. I don't get why people are saying blow up the team. Here's what you do. You re-sign Paul Pierce to a veteran minimum contract. He's a head case. He drives me crazy, but he still was a good player. He still brings some leadership, and I like him as a power forward. Garnett. Hopefully he won't retire. I know, he's been kind of garbage. He can't start anymore. He should be the backup center. I think that's perfectly fine. I think Garnett coming off the bench, paying 15 to 20 minutes off the bench, bringing some toughness. Maybe you put him in down the stretch when you want to go big. If you want to go big, you put him in with Brook Lopez. If not, have him play his tough defense. You do that. You got to bring back Sean Livingston. Players to get rid of. Not many. Alan Anderson's a free agent. Here's the Nets free agents. Pierce, Livingston, Alan Anderson are the 3 main free agents. Obviously, Jason Collins and Teague and all those guys, they're free agents, but who cares? They're useless people. Those are the 3 main guys who are free agents. As much as I liked Alan Anderson, the Nets could live without him. I'm sure the Nets will bring him back with something small or something, but he's not their priority. They got to bring back Sean Livingston with, I think they can offer him their mid-level exception, which they should do. And then they got to bring back Paul Pierce, which they should offer him the veterans minimum, which I think is $3 million or something like that, or like $4 million. I don't know. That's what they've got to do. The starting lineup next year, I would like to see Darren Williams. I want Darren Williams gone personally, but no one's going to take that contract the way he's been playing. So, Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, or Darren Williams, Sean Livingston, Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, and Brook Lopez. That's what I want to see next year. That would have been a great team. Now, Lopez obviously would have to get rebounds for them to be good on that team, which we know recently, before his injury, is something that he struggled with, but we also know, if you're a Nets fan and you followed them when they were the New Jersey Nets, this is a guy who averaged 8.6 rebounds a game at one point during a full season. And he used to be a double-double machine, so you know he's capable of it. He's 7 feet tall. Any 7-footer is capable of double-digit rebounds if he really puts his mind to it. I want to see that. Then I like to see Marcus Thornton off the bench. I like to see Mirza Teletovic off the bench. I like to see Kevin Garnett off the bench to bring a toughness off the bench. Because that's the way I see his Garnett now. He's a scrapper off the bench, toughness. And I like to see Andrei Kirilenko off the bench. Did I say Mirza Teletovic? Yeah. I like to see Teletovic, Garnett, Andrei Kirilenko, and Marcus Thornton as the 4 main guys off the bench. And then you can grab Alan Anderson as well, if they can bring him back. I like that. Blatch, I think it's a good time to trade Blatch, personally. I don't have a problem with him. He's a good player, but he's too much of a head case. You need really smart players. I think Blatch's got to go, personally. I think he should go. I think you can get something from him. I think you can get a late first-round draft pick and a mediocre player, like a bench player for Blatch. I think there's a team out there that would like a little bit of an offensive punch. I don't know what team, but maybe you trade Blatch. The only reason I say you trade Blatch is because you got too many bigs next season. Plumlee is a fantastic third-string center, a guy to spell minutes for Lopez and minutes for Garnett and give him, when Garnett needs his days off, Plumlee can come in and be good. I think that's fantastic. I think you can lose Blatch. And I like him, but you can lose him. And it wouldn't be the end of the world. I don't think it would be. I think if you lost Blatch, Garnett comes in as a backup center, I think the Nets would look good next season. But the truth is, this whole blow up the Nets thing should not happen. Give it one more year. Give it a year with a healthy Brook Lopez before you decide that this season that the team is a failure and the experiment's a failure. Now, if Brook Lopez can't stay healthy, or they lose with him, then you blow up the team. If he can't stay healthy, then you're gonna have to blow up the team, because that really, Garnett and Pierce, they got really one more year left in him. Garnett, I don't know what Garnett's gonna do. He might retire. I still really wouldn't blow up the team, because if you think about it, they're not an old team. The still core of Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, and Brook Lopez is still a playoff team. And without Pierce and without Garnett, perhaps they can sprinkle a little bit more talent around, some veterans here and there and other places. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, but the biggest thing I'm trying to say is don't blow up this team yet. It's not a failed experiment because Lopez didn't play for more than 17 games. So that's what I'm going to say. Bring back Lopez, bring back Pierce, bring back Livingston, and see what you can do. Basically, bring back the same exact team they had this year and see how it goes. I think another year for Jason Kidd, who is figuring it out. I like what he's doing. I think he'd be good. I think another, Joe Johnson ain't going to get any younger, but the way he plays ain't going to make a big difference. So he's fine. Teletovic with the confidence. A full season of Marcus Thornton, if he can just get his head on straight constantly, it'd be fantastic. I mean, it could be a really good team, if not a championship team next season. But, I'm not shocked. I'm a little disappointed because I really thought they could have done more than losing 5 games to the Heat, especially the way they played. But What else can I say? So there you have it. The Nets season. Over. I told you what they should do. Basically bring back the whole team, to be honest. Maybe there's some players they could live without, like Blatch or Allen Anderson, but mostly bring back the same team. And just hope that with a healthy Brook Lopez coming in next season and everything meshes together, they could be a fantastic team, the team that I expected them to be. But it's too early to blow them up. There is. You don't know what they could have been. This is not the team they expected to have. It's as simple as that. So, that's that. I've decided that I will continue NetsBoy videos throughout the postseason. They're not going to be frequent. The next NetsBoy won't be until right before the second round right before the finals. Not the finals, the conference finals. So right before the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals will be the next NetsBoy episode, where I'll give you my picks. But then I'm probably not going to do any more videos until the finals. You know what I mean? It's going to be truly a span of a week, or 2 weeks, the videos are going to come, because I don't have much, I'm going to still watch the games. I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm still going to watch everything, and I'll give you what I think is going to happen in the series, because that's what I love to do. And hopefully you still watch. I want to thank everybody who has been watching, of my, 10 to 25 viewers, and my 6 subscribers. I want to thank you guys again. And, we'll see what happens next year. And I'll see you guys, well, like I said, I'll do another video, a couple videos before the end of the season. And then we'll see what goes on from there. So just keep your eyes out for other Nets boys, just to look at and see what the Nets have to, to see what I have to say about the postseason later on. Last thing I want to talk about, Steve Kerr going to sign it, getting the Warriors job after Mark Jackson got fired. Knicks felt like they got stubbed, but Knicks fans, hire Mark Jackson. It's like the obvious thing. I don't know, Mark Jackson is a perfect fit for the Knicks. He played for them, they love him, he'd be great. That's all I'm going to say. Knicks fans, Phil Jackson, hire Mark Jackson. But anyway, thank you for listening, thank you for everything. Hopefully the Nets don't blow up the team. We'll see what happens in the rest of the playoffs. Stay tuned. And until next time, this is NetsBoy. A little very disappointed, but understanding. Signing off.